Good morning. As we look at our new section of the Chapter 3, we're going to be focusing on inequalities in Chapter 3, whereas in Chapter 2, we focused on equations. Here on the left, I have our general symbols that we're going to be using. Some of these symbols may be new to you. Some of these symbols may be somewhat of a refresher idea. Our first two, I guess, that we're going to focus on are less than and greater than, these two signs here. You're very familiar with both of them. The less than sign generally looks like a capital L. That's one way to think about it. A lot of you may remember it's more like a Pac-Man, and the Pac-Man symbol was somewhat like this, and the bigger side is what is on the bigger side of the Pac-Man, and the smaller number is on the other side. So in terms of putting this less than sign, you're going to put the bigger number on the right, the smaller number on the left. The greater than is just the reverse. So when we have a greater than, we have the larger number on the left and the smaller number on the right. So just kind of some general overview and review of those two ideas. Now, these next two are obviously both equal to, with that second line underneath. This down here, this squiggly equal sign, that means approximately. So when we say pi is approximately 3.14, that's what we mean by that. It's actually 3.14159.265 ... and it goes on and on, obviously indefinitely. Just as a reminder, that is an irrational number. And as a reminder, what is an irrational number? It's a number that is decimal, keeps on going, and never repeats. And then the last sign down here is not equal to, an equal sign with a slash through it. So, when we are working with our problem, I have some general concepts here that I want to go through. Greater than or less than, when we graph a line or a line segment that does that, that means it's going to go up to the number, but it doesn't include the number. So in other words, it's everyone who is under 42 inches can ride this ride. That means you can be up to 42 inches, but not 42 inches or above. So when we're symbolizing this in the number line, that's symbolized by an open circle. That's a key idea. Now, in comparison, when we have less than or equal to, that means everything going up to the number and including the number. That is signified then by a closed circle. In other words, a circle that's filled in versus an open circle. So these two different types of symbols on a number line will help us to identify visually what the inequality is saying. All right, next, which way do we shade? Well, we're going to shade in the direction that the inequality points, so long as the variable is on the left. So in this chapter, all of our variables are going to end up on being on the left, and I'm going to show you how to manipulate equations if they're not. If the variable is not on the left, we're going to rewrite the equation so it is, and that's an interesting way to do it, but you'll see how we do that. It's not too hard. And lastly, a solution means that number is in the shaded section or in the true statement when we evaluate it in the problem. So here we have our number line. On our number line that I'm going to be asking you to do on your homework, the most important thing to do is evenly space your tick marks, and we need to have at least 3 tick marks on our number line. Generally, the number that we're going to be targeting is going to be in the middle, and we want at least one number above and one number below identified just with labels. So here I've labeled 0, 3, and 4. Now, everything that's less than 3, that means put a circle around 3, and I want everything that's less than 3. So less than is to the left. Another way to think of it, less than is left, and we're going to shade all the numbers here. That means everything up to 3 is included, but 3 is not included. Our second one, x is greater than or equal to negative 1. So I'm going to put negative 1 in the middle, 0, 1, and 2 on the right, and negative 2, negative 3 on the left. For this problem, I'm going to put a circle at negative 1, but I'm also going to fill it in because it's equal to. So this one is equal to, so it's a closed-in circle. And then I'm going to shade, since it's pointing to the right, I'm going to shade everything to the right. Don't forget to put an arrow at the end of your shading. That signifies that there's more off the graph than we've actually shown on the graph. Our next one, down here at the bottom, x is greater than 1/2. I'm going to label 0, 1, and 2. And I need to carefully put a circle in between 0 and 1, approximately where 1/2 is. Now in this case, I'm not going to fill in the circle, but I am going to shade in the direction the inequality points, so I'm going to shade to the right. And let's put a little reminder here that says the variable on the left, number 1, and number 2, shade in the direction of the inequality. By saying inequality, we mean that greater than or less than symbol. Alright, let's do our last one. Let's put a 4 down on the number line. 5, 6, 3, 2. So there I've labeled it. I'm going to be going less than 4, so I'm going to shade to the left. Remember, less than shades left. They both start with an L. And I'm going to fill in this 4 because not only is my number true for all the numbers less than 4, but also 4 itself. So here's 4 simple examples of shading a number line with an inequality.